The half kneeling windmill is all about controlling your hips hinging back as you turn to rotate and look at the kettlebell above your shoulder. There's a lot happening in this movement. There's shoulder stability on that loaded side as you're hinging down, but you also need a lot of hip mobility and thoracic mobility so you can hit that full range of motion hinge, as well as that slight rotation as we're hinging back and looking up at the kettlebell. You can totally use a knee pad or a pillow to protect that down knee. And contrary to how I typically have y'all set up for half kneeling movements, we're actually gonna have this knee out to the side, so my knees are more or less in line with each other. This allows us to hinge back, thinking of bringing that butt cheek to the same sided foot. So in this case, my right arm is loaded with the kettlebell overhead, and I'm trying to hinge my left butt cheek to touch my left heel at the bottom of the movement. So as I set up, I'm gonna work on my left side. So that means my right knee is down, my left knee is up, and that kettlebell is loaded on the left side. Here I'm gonna externally rotate that left hip to open them up, get the knees in line with one another, and then again, I'm hinging my hips back, rotating to look up at the kettlebell, and then straightening out from there. So there's two ranges of motion you can hit. You can just work to get that hand on the ground, and then come back up to correcting yourself upright. Or you can work to get that elbow onto the ground, a lot deeper of a range of motion, and it requires a lot more stability and strength work on your part. Feel free to play with this movement, determine what is a better range of motion for you to work with. You can totally do this body weight when you're learning the movement because, like I said, it takes a lot of mobility and stability, let alone the strength work that is happening as you're loading that kettlebell onto the shoulder and lats. One final pro tip I want to leave y'all with is the idea that this arm is more or less not moving. Notice how it's staying completely vertical, perpendicular to the floor, and it's really my hips and my torso that are doing the movement, and then I'm bringing my ear back to the bicep. Very often I use the cue, bring your bicep to the ear when we're pressing, but in this situation, I'm moving my ear away from the bicep as that arm stays totally vertical, and then I'm returning the ear to be next to the bicep at the top of the movement.